A youth organization and pair of environmental groups are suing the state to try to force the state to reduce carbon emissions in the era of climate change. Maine Youth Action, the Conservation Law Foundation, and the Sierra Club filed their lawsuit Friday in state court. The lawsuit says the Maine Department of Environmental Protection is under an existing and ongoing statutory obligation to reduce emissions and has failed to do so. The lawsuit harkens back to a similar effort in Montana, in which young environmentalists sued state officials for failing to do enough to protect them from climate change.